So we talked about looking at other referral partners and that type of thing. I think Dave wanted to continue on that, talking about CP.
Well, I'm going to talk about a couple things then. So Ryan, I just wanted Ryan to share. We sent out that email about the CPA program, and I know that Ryan, I actually don't know how much success he's had at this so far, but I wanted him to share so far what you've done and what the results are and where this is headed, because it's going to lead into what I wanted to cover today. And then we're going to try to wrap this up pretty quick today. So go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a little bit of success. I haven't really dove into all of the contacts I've gotten yet. It's been a little bit of a stressful week with a couple of files. So I am going to do that next week. I've got probably 10 CPAs, I think, from that email I sent out that I need to contact. But I had a client that needed a CPA based on that email I'd sent out. So that was kind of that's the first kind of, I think G had the same success with that email. Is you're going to get CPAs and you're also going to get people that need referrals for CPAs, which was awesome. And I was like, shit, well, I better get connected to a CPA so I can give this person a referral. So I called a couple, they didn't answer. The third one I called sounded like really a professional CPA. You know how CPAs can be. They can, sometimes be a little nerdy and dorky sometimes. So this guy was like, wow, I do actually want to do business with you. So I told him I had a lead for him and was going to send him his way. And then just asked him like how he felt about getting in touch and doing a face-to-face meeting. And he was all about it. So we were going to do it this week, but we rescheduled for Monday. And I think it's going to be a super good meeting. And I think it'll be something I can build off of for the new CPA meetings that I'll be looking to get next week.
Well, that's awesome. Does anybody else have any? Giuseppe, you said that all you've done so far is send out the email, but you haven't done anything since. You got the names of some people though, right?
Yeah. So I just used Ryan's email. I didn't even read it. I just had
wow, that's
he had success
I
with it. I had corporate just email it out to my database. And something about the wording, like people, Ryan, did you get a bunch of people that were like, I'm so sorry that I could not give you a name. I do my own taxes.
Yeah.
I think the subject line is like, Ryan, I need your help.
Yeah. It was very I was very strategic in like how I sent it out. Cause it like in emails, if you put somebody's name in the subject line and like the way I like worded it, it made it seem like it was very personal. And so I think that's also why I got a ton of responses, is because of like the way I sent it out. It didn't look very like mass email at me. It looked like an individual email to everybody. So yeah.
So now did you guys share did we share the email with everybody? Has everybody seen this email?
No, I can send it out.
Just have just email Paula and just say you want it to go out to your database. Don't even read it. Like really, it's fine. I got within a day, we got, I think 25 or 26 CPA names that people considered 5 stars. And I sent it out I think probably Thursday or Tuesday, Friday of last week or Tuesday of this week, and got a bunch of names back. And just happened, one of the clients actually copied a CPA in the reply. So I have a call scheduled with that guy, but I haven't started calling the CPAs yet, because right now I'm spending every free moment calling pre-approved buyers to see how many are actually still actively looking for homes, because it's been slow.
Yes, it has. All right. Well, so that's the perfect transition now. So let's talk about, we're in a shifted market. The market has shifted. We know that. That's not a news flash. This isn't breaking news. By the way, did you hear that CNN is going to stop having breaking news on everything on their channel all day?
Thank God.
Because if everything's breaking news, then is anything breaking news, right? And so they actually showed a picture. I saw this I get the Morning Brew newsletter. I saw a picture of breaking news. The Titanic sank 102 years ago tonight. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that's not breaking news. That's like, anyway. So anyway, back to we're in the market has shifted. And the reality is, like we've talked, you're going to see, it's still, in my mind, the perfect time to be in this business, because so many of the entrenched loan officers, the loan officers that have been in the business for a long time, or not a long time, but they got in the business because rates were so low, are going to struggle and they're going to leave the industry, and it's going to be really prevalent, and it's already started. And you're seeing, the layoff announcements are getting more and more frequent because, a lot of times people will put that off as long as they can. And then they're just like, okay, we're not going to see a dramatic improvement in volume anytime soon. And so they make the decisions that they make. But so the first, I talked about this book last time, the Shift, that we talked about this. There's 12 tactics in there that I covered like the first couple of them when I first talked about this. The fourth tactic is finding the motivated under lead generation. So this gets back to some of the basic comments. So I'm going to just read some of these passages that really stood out to me that I've underlined. So when a market has shifted, what has really happened is that the buyer and the seller motivation has simply changed. And the number one challenge of a shift for salespeople is finding the motivated, because where there was once a large quantity of quality leads, now there isn't. And the once clear pool of leads feels like a muddy puddle. A market shift simply causes a smaller number of buyers to have the ability, readiness, or willingness to be involved in a mortgage transaction at this moment, just at this moment, right? So remember that. That's really important. Since you can't actually motivate people, your only choice is to find more of them. And this ties right into the CPA conversation. So this is why you have to now ramp up your lead generation, because they're just simply less of the motivated to find. And this is when the true competitive nature of our business reveals itself, and you realize it's time to stop trying to get your fair share of the market and do everything you can to get your unfair share of the market, right? You have to get more leads. And he has a line in here that says, it's kind of funny, the agents who are going to survive and thrive in any tough business market will be those who face reality and say, if it is to be, it's up to me, and I need leads coming straight to me. I think that's funny that Mike has that. But so some of the facts and myths. So let's face, lead generating to find potential customers just might not be your favorite business subject. True for me. I hated that part of it. Most salespeople don't love the side of the business where they have to lead generate. We do get to a point. That's what I love about this business so much, is that once you've put yourself in a position where you have a big database of past clients and referral partners and people who know you, you come to work on January 1st and you've probably got 50 to 100 deals that are going to come your way no matter what you do. And you have to really start to ignore people for that to slow down anytime soon. But today we're in a shifted market, and that's changed. So we have to do that. The truth, however, if you're like most people, probably isn't why you got into the mortgage business, was to generate leads, but it isn't something that gets you excited to go to work every day. But the truth is that you actually got into two businesses. You got into the business of helping people with their mortgages, and you got into the lead generation business. They are inseparable. They are the yin and yang of your professional world. To have sales, you must have leads. And you might love helping people get mortgages, but you haven't yet quite figured out how to learn to hunt for them. And this is Gary Keller now writing, I must admit that I honestly didn't enjoy or fully embrace the lead generating part of our business. It wasn't until I realized that lead generation was something I had to do and master in order to get the things I really enjoyed doing, that I actually buckled down and got serious about it. And then something magical happened. The more I did it, the better I got, and the better I got, the more I liked it. I think that's true for almost everything that we do in anything in our business. Like when I first started meditating, I didn't like it. Honestly, I just, like, my mind's going a million freaking places, and I had to keep practicing and getting better. And now I love meditating. Like, it's weird. And so it's just practice will change that. What he said in his book is, from a distance, I thought lead generation was really difficult, but after I diligently applied myself to it for a reasonable length of time, I came to see that it was actually quite easy and could even be fun. He caught on that with practice and homework, these actions are easily understood and learned. I saw that on top of being a transaction, knowledge, and service business, our industry is a script and dialogue skill-based business. I talk about this all the time. You have to be well scripted. You have to know what you're going to say in a given business situation. If you find yourself in a business situation that you didn't quite know how to respond, that's a perfect opportunity to share that. And just like, okay, here's what happened to me today. Here's the question that I was asked. Here's what a realtor said. Here's what a buyer said. what would you have said differently? What is comments like? Because the longer I've been in this for 25 years, Giuseppe's been in for 20, Jacqueline for a long time. So John for a long time. So we've heard things that maybe you've never heard. It was like, oh, here's what you would say in that situation. So you have to understand that you're still, that's part of the training that I talked about the importance of investing yourself in your training, that you continue to get better. Couple more things. He talks about there's 3 straightforward action steps that you must take to get your business, to get your sales business moving in a positive direction. Number 1, stop doing what doesn't work. So pay attention to what you're doing. And if it doesn't work, fucking stop. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So one of the things right now that you're all talking about that I'm hearing more and more is how challenging it is. Realtors are just like, leave me alone. That's not going to be forever. That's going to be for the next, probably, I would guess 60 to 90 days, maybe through the summer, when the last of the refi guys decide I can't work in the mortgage business anymore, because they're the ones that are hounding realtors and they don't know what they're doing. And they're the ones that are making the realtors go crazy. But stop doing what doesn't work, figure out what does work and ramp it up, right? So this CPA thing, I think, is a really good opportunity. I don't think that anybody's going to turn around and all of a sudden start closing 10 deals a month from CPAs, but they might. And so going out and finding, fishing in different water, that whole blue ocean strategy, like if everybody's out there fighting for the few realtor leads that are coming in, and this business hasn't died. I was at the CMLA conference yesterday and they talked about, I'll show you, I'll send out this slide that'll show you that the purchase MBA economists are predicting that the purchase business is going to continue to rise for the next 4 or 5 years. It's just going to become a bigger and bigger part of the market. The refinances aren't going to come back until rates change, right? So we're in a more normalized market and it's a really strange time. Right now, it's just a strange time because of interest rate rising as fast as it did and the inventory situation, which is starting to loosen up, right? So we're starting to see the articles. I saw a realtor.com article that the number of listings like doubled. It's still crazy low, but the number of listings had doubled and it's still below the 2019 level. But the fact that there's twice as many listings on the market in a given period is substantial. So then it spends some time in this book. And like I said, I would recommend you buy this book. There's some really good really good information in here. Let me see, there was just a couple. I'm not going to get into he spends a lot of time talking about the different things that you can do. Linda McKissick is a real estate agent she's Keller Williams agent that I met at a Darren Hardy conference. Really crazy, sharp lady, very successful real estate agent. Her and her husband, they run a really big team in Austin, I think, or Denton, Texas. My real estate business took off when I realized that I had to ask for business and not be attached to the answer. I would have to get no's on my way to yeses. I just had to ask. The more I asked, the more I got. It's okay to hear no. Don't let those no's dissuade you. Then he gets into and this is the daily activity part of this conversation, right? This is you being disciplined, and it's all we're trying to do. I don't want to babysit anybody. I don't want to check your numbers. I want you to check them. These are your numbers. It's your business, but I don't want to check them. I only try to teach you how to do that initially, but this is all up to you. But you have to just subscribe to one simple belief that dealing with business never takes precedence over finding business. Let me say that again. Dealing with business can never take precedence over finding business. You must adopt the position that until your lead generation is done every day, nothing else should get done. Because without those leads, there isn't anything to do. Otherwise, you will constantly find other things that seem more important to allow other things to convince you they're more important, or allow other things to convince you they're more important. The number one challenge you face won't be either of the first 2 issues we covered. It will be this: consistently doing lead generation activities over time. It's just, we're in a market shift. So your focus on lead generation activities should be cast in marble. That should be, and they talk about spending 2 to 3 hours a day on it in this book, or 3 hours a day, and then a couple hours twice a week in the evenings. This is for realtors who are going out and doing listing presentations. But He has an example of how he time blocks. I could show it to you, but you've all seen stuff like this that just says, okay, 8:30 to 11:30 is lead generation. And during lead generation activities, it's preparation, it's taking action, and it's maintaining. So it's updating your database with all of that stuff. I'm almost done. Sorry. Your goal is consistent lead generation. The way you do it is seeing your job as lead generation first and servicing those leads second. When you go to the movies, you turn off your cell phone, you don't allow any distractions or disruptions, and for a couple of hours, you focus on the movie. You can do that here during your lead generation activity, right? So it's not that hard. And the goal here is to get in the path of business. Lead generation is a contact sport with simple rules. It means making contact with people through prospecting and marketing. Once you meet your new contacts, you either do business with them immediately or you don't. Either way, once you've met with them, you put them in a database and stay in touch with them forever. That has been the key and the cornerstone of the success that every loan officer who works here has employed, and it works. And when you're in a market like this, that's where the fundamentals of deciding, okay, that's what's going to happen. And everybody I talk to is going, and that's why that database. And I just had this conversation with the 2 new guys that are in training, 3 new guys that are in training, is you've got to master the use of that database. It's the most important tool that you have. If you use it correctly, you will know what you're supposed to do every single day. And if you let the database know what you did every day, tomorrow it's going to tell you exactly what you're supposed to do tomorrow. Right. So that's the deal. So I'm done preaching. I hope that is helpful, and I would highly recommend you get a copy of that book. Jacqueline, would you now share what you, and then this won't take long, but just share what you learned from reading the book that you're reading, Boundaries for Leaders. It was a really timely advice.
Yeah. So there's a chapter in the book. There's a lot of stuff in there that they reference the 07, 08 real estate and everything meltdown. And there was one realtor in particular that he was referencing, but basically what they did is they made a list of all of the things that were going on in the market that they can't control. And they made a list of all the things that are going on in the market that they can control, and just had them focus on that stuff. So I can't control the stock market. I can't control what rates are doing. I can't control inventory shortage and realtors not wanting to talk to me and all of that stuff, but I can control my attitude. I can control reaching out to all of my past client database and just checking in on them and making sure that they have everything they need and things like that. So the agent that he referenced, she had like her best year ever that year, because she was reaching out to her clients and they actually did want to talk to her and make sure that they were okay and things like that. And it just generated business into the future because she focused more on the things that she could control versus all of these other external things that we don't have any control over. So
it's a great message, and it ties right in with what we were just talking about. So thank you for sharing that.
I was going to say something real quick, just 2 quick things. One, and we've talked about this in our team meetings, and maybe I brought it up at Coffee for Closers, but we really have to be like the cheerleader right now. And if you know my personality, that's not like my natural style. But when you talk to clients and realtors, like, you have to point out all the positives. We had to do this in 2008, 9, 10, when every other house out there was a foreclosure or short sale, values were going down and no one wanted to buy a house. Like, you have to just find the positive and share it with people. So I just did a TCA that I'll post online and send out the video to like pre-approved buyers and probably realtors, that just shows, if you bought a house, if you were shopping in March or April for a $500,000 house, you probably had to pay $550 for it. And rates were maybe a quarter higher than they are right now. And you had to cover that $50,000 appraisal gap, right? When you bid it up from 500 to 550. Now you can probably get that house for 500, with the rate being a little bit less. You need like 10 grand less at closing, no appraisal gap, and your payment's like $200 or $400 less. So that's the kind of stuff that, I'm trying. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm just trying to get out to the pre-approved buyers and realtors all the time so that they can start to feel like, hey, this really is a really good time to buy. I don't know what the hell happened over the last 3 weeks. Like, nothing, the inventory is about the same. Rates have moved down, but everyone's just like on pause for whatever reason. So we got to be that positive reinforcement, right? And positive attitude when you're talking to them. Then secondly, on what Dave was saying about if you have questions, situations that you find yourself in, just send it to the Zenith LO group. I'm sure somebody will reply, and a lot of people are probably thinking the same thing. And then you can really, have exponential learning with everybody. And like, don't be embarrassed if you're like, I didn't know how to handle this. I probably should. So I don't want to like ask anyone. Just ask, and you'll probably get like 4 different answers. And one of them you're going to like really jive with and like, okay, I'm going to use that going forward. That's it.
Excellent advice, Matt. Thank you. All right, everybody, let's have an awesome Friday.
Hey, Dave, did you want to talk about the event that's coming up next?
Yeah, I'll send out, you guys will get an invite, the mortgage coach. And I'm going to keep investing in training, guys. So you'll see me spend money in like at a time when I'm obviously being really careful about money that we are spending, but when I see a good opportunity for some training, then I'm going to jump on it. And so if you haven't ever watched any of those mortgage coach, whatever those called, mastery, whatever those seminar, they go all day, but then you're going to have access to them for, I think, 12 months. So you're going to be able to go back. You can't sit there. I would not sit and watch this all day on the day that they're doing it, but they're just great interviews. And they're usually they're nice bite-sized chunks, right? They're usually 5, 10, 15 minute. And then there's like a 30-minute deal, but they're typically like 5 minutes long, maybe 10. And then there'll be like a 30-minute presentation, but good for realtors, there's going to be realtors and mortgage people on it as well. And we're all going to be addressing this kind of a market. So look, I'll send out the link today. So you'll have it later today. So you get signed up. And that's it.